Hello, hello, hello. It's not coffee time, but I've got a coffee going on. It's better move me microphones. This is a clickbait video, not deliberate. Oh, can you hear my stomach there? That's the metformin gurgling. Yeah, this is a clickbaity video, so click away now. It's Roger Waters' birthday today. Thankfully, we won't have to suffer too many more of these. Yeah, Roger Waters is trending on Twitter. And I thought, oh, maybe it's because it's Roger Waters' birthday. But it wasn't. It's because, I guess it would have been yesterday now. Yesterday, he wrote an open letter to Alina Zelensky. She is the wife of Zelensky, President Zelensky, Prime Minister Zelensky, whatever he is these days, of Ukraine. Yeah. And you think, okay. And I read this letter and I couldn't believe what I was reading. Again, he talks about, the war. And he gives her a history lesson. He mansplains. It's a very sexist kind of letter where he explains to the wife, of the leader of the Ukraine, the social history and political history of Ukraine and Russia. And gives some suggestions. Basically, throw down your arms and surrender to Russia. Of course, others pro-Waters, pro-Putin will see this as us being he's being a peacemaker. Well, no, he's not a peacemaker, because a peacemaker would be neutral, like Switzerland. They'd be neutral, and they wouldn't favour either side. And again, you must ask yourself, has he written a similar letter to our mate Vlad? No, he didn't. He didn't write him that, because he's got him on speed dial, hasn't he? He's got him on speed dial. I hear he's only paid in rubles these days, old Mr. Roger Waters. You can see it here. This is the letter that he posted on his Facebook page. If you pause it, you can read it yourself, because I'm not going to read it out. But there's even a picture of him and Mrs. Zelensky. But he even quotes his own lyrics, which just shows you how deluded he is. Just imagine quoting your own lyrics to the wife of the leader of Ukraine. I mean, this is the problem with people like Waters. Is they have this superiority complex. I know better than you, so I'm going to tell you how it is. And very often they're completely off the mark, and he is completely and utterly off the mark on this. And again, a lot of the people who defend Russia and Putin, they've got this narrative that it's all Ukraine's fault. They're Nazis, or they've sided with with NATO, or looked towards the EU. And again, as an autonomous country, I have every right to do that. Whether I agree with it or not, it's up for the people to decide. And we see Roger Waters displaying exactly who and what he is, and it's very disturbing. Very disturbing. And again, if you think he's right, don't bother leaving a comment, because I'm gonna delete it, right? Because he's not right. You've got to remember, Ukraine was invaded by Russia. It's Ukrainian people who have been, attacked and killed and murdered and raped by Russian forces. It's not the other way around. Ukraine didn't invade Russia, right? This is what's going on. And I know you're going to reframe it. You're going to, this is what really happened. Oh, the Donbass region. It's all a load of crap, right? It's just a lot of crap. Yeah, everyone wants it to end, of course, but we want Russia to get out. We want Russia to get out and Putin to be deposed, and a leader more in style of dear old Mikhail Gorbachev, who left us recently, or Boris Yeltsin, somebody who was actually free-minded and who wasn't obsessed with returning Russia to a Cold War footing. But this is where we are. Roger Waters, who blames everything on the victims rather than the aggressor. Very, very disturbing and very disappointing. But again, this is another person. You can see his stance with the whole Palestine-Israel. You know, he's, as a leftist, he has a certain narrative that he has to follow. He's not a free thinker. You know, he has a framework of thought, and he can't be wrong. You know, this is what right-thinking people believe, and that's how they justify this cranky, feeling. But the best result of this was Pink Floyd. They wished him a happy birthday, and this is one of the greatest things I've ever read. It says, wishing Roger Waters peace and enlightenment on his birthday. And of course they've got their Ukraine charity single logo there, and that is probably the most middle class, passive aggressive reply that you could possibly have, and I think it's marvellous. I can imagine Mr. Davy Boy Gilmore sitting there and go, make it so, as they pressed the send button on that tweet. And again, I can't understand why anyone would be anti-Ukraine. You know, again, they didn't want to upset the Russian bear. You can see why in 2014 there were a number of politicians were a little bit more hesitant to get involved, you know, when they invaded Crimea, you know, and what was happening in the Donbass region, because again, didn't want to upset Putin. Again, a lot of these Western countries, I'm looking at you, Germany, were intoxicated by the idea of cheap fuel, cheap gas from Russia. Intoxicated they were. And again, it was a perfect storm of the pipelines going into Europe, the COVID situation, Joe Biden as president. Now, can you imagine Putin doing all this if Trump was still president? Again, I'm not a Trump fanatic or a fan of any sort, but Putin knows that Trump's crazy enough to stand up to him, you know, whereas a lot more of these leaders aren't. Again, I can't believe I'm having to make this video. I really can't. So yeah, let's not wish Roger Waters a happy birthday. Let's hope that, you know, the nurse ups his medication, because obviously he's escaped from the old folks' home and is obviously suffering from some sort of onset of dementia, and it's all rather disturbing. It's a shame. It's a shame that we've come to this. If he was truly a man of peace, if he truly believed his own message, he'd be sending an open letter to Vladimir Putin as well, to both presidents, saying, look, and he'd be there at the table, getting around the table talking peace, wouldn't he? If he really is a man of peace. He isn't. That's not his motive and driving force at all. He uses peace like a navvy uses the F word. You know, he is just a hypocrite and a liar. And this is what happens when you have millions and millions and millions of pounds in the bank. You become deluded, and when you have young people and old people enthralled at your feet, worshipping you, you become incredibly deluded. He's suffering from a god complex almost, and it's sad. Isn't it, really? Any normal person behaved like this would lock him up and throw away the key. But yeah, another rock star turned crank. Here we are. Happy birthday. And yeah, feel free to leave positive comments in favour of those brave fighters in Ukraine. Slava Ukraine. And fuck Roger Waters and Putin. I know I keep doing it, but it needs to be said. I'm sorry, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Again, you've got to remember, he blames the British for his father's death, not the Germans and the axis of evil, you know, at the time. So that shows you the direction he faces. It always has done. Anyway, thank you for watching. My name's been Darren Locke. I've been putting the boot into Roger Waters. Not that he cares, because he's too busy sleeping on a big bed of money, isn't he? He doesn't care. What does he care? As long as you keep buying the records and buying the tickets to see him mime to his hits, then everything will be tickety-boo. Prog on.